Good morning all and welcome to our first ever live code playground coming from Barclays Eagle Lab in Notting Hill, London. My name is Ross Martin, I'm a Digital Eagle at Barclays and I'll be your host for today's session. You've just watched a video which tells you all about our code playground program. We know that understanding code is becoming more and more important and learning how can be a lot of fun. Today we're going to give you a basic introduction to one of the tools that coders use to create really cool websites, games and applications. Then we'll make a game and learn some of the basic rules of coding. In today's coding session, we're looking at APIs, otherwise known as Application Programming Interfaces. APIs are basically like building blocks that help you create some really cool projects and apps. They let coders use parts of other systems to make their own projects work better. This means you can make some really cool stuff without having to create every part of it yourself. So let's think of an example. Let's imagine you're creating an app to show the best toy shops in the UK. And to be able to show everyone where they are, you need a map. Now you could spend ages coding your own map service, and by the time you've done, there could be 100 other apps showing off all of these toy shops. Or alternatively, you could use a map that's already out there. You can get access to another map using an API, but you do need an API key to prove that you're allowed to use their map. And then you can spend your time on research, which means playing in lots of toy shops. And just another example of an API. When you go to a website or you use an application, you may want to watch a video, and that video is probably being hosted by using an API. So YouTube have an API which enables people to put those videos on websites and applications. So now we're going to talk through an actual example of how APIs come to life. So let's imagine you're searching for something on the internet, like one of those crazy cat videos. So you decide to search for a video using your search engine. So first of all, here we have our search engine. And we know that we've searched for a video, so the search engine will find an online server with our video on. It's now that our friend the API comes in. Using APIs, the search engine can find the video we're looking for. And now the search engine has our video, it can send it to our device for us to watch. Now hopefully from that you'll understand what happens in the background of the internet when we try to do something. So first of all we request something, it searches for it and then provides a response. And this all works seamlessly through APIs and servers, meaning we can get data or information wherever we are. So now we're going to head over to the Scratch website and have a look at our API game for you to code along and complete your own game. To get to the Scratch website, simply type in the address you can now see on your screen. Or alternatively, just search online for Scratch. So once you're there, in the search box at the top of the page on the Scratch website, simply type Appy Chappy, APICHAPPY, and then click enter. So now click on the Code Playground project that you can see on the left of your screen. And once you've done this, click on the blue icon in the top right of your screen, and this is labelled See Inside. Okay, so hopefully you've all done that now and you can see the project we're going to be working on. But what we'd like to do first of all is give you a tour of the Scratch website and how it works. So teachers, just as we go through the tour, please could you help point out what we're talking about? So first of all, on the left of the screen at the top, you have the project screen, which shows what game or animation will look like. This screen is set up like a graph with an x-axis and a y-axis. And a good way to remember this is that x is a cross because x is a cross, and y reaches for the sky and is up and down. Above the project screen is the green flag, and this is to start your project, and the red circle is to stop your project. Next, underneath the project screen, on the left of your screen, you have your sprite area. So sprites are the characters and other objects that you will use in the project. Here you can see what part of the project you are coding by looking at where the blue square is. Now in the middle of the screen, all of the blocks you will use in your project, and they are split down into color-coded sections to make it easier to find the block you're looking for. The blue motion section is for how things move. The purple look section for how things look, and the pink sound section to control any sounds in the project. And the green pen section is to help draw within your project. We also have the orange data section, and this is really important. This is where we create what we call variables. Now, variables are things in a project that will give a value to and can constantly change throughout. A good example of this is the score that we'll be using in the game. We have the brown event section, and this contains the inputs that you can use. These are actions that trigger something like clicking the mouse or pressing on a key on your keyboard. All computers use inputs like the touchscreen on your smartphone or your tablet. Then we have the gold control section, and this is one of the most important and has blocks to help you to control how your project works. It includes loops like the forever and repeat loops. These make the computer run parts of the code more than once. It also contains what we call statements, which means you can make things happen at the right time, like if this happens, then do that. The light blue sensing section lets us tell if something's happened, like if a button is pressed or one sprite touches another. We then have the green operator section, and this lets you use numbers in the projects and use things like greater than or smaller than. And finally, the more blocks section, which let you create new blocks if you need them for your project. Now at the top of the block section, you also have 3 tabs which let you control the costumes for your sprites and also any sounds. Now if you look on the right of the screen, you have what we call the coding section, which is where we build the scripts to control your project. To build a script, you will need to click and drag a block into the coding section. And when you join it with another block, you will see the white line to show when it is ready to join and where it will go in your code. Okay, so now you've had a quick tour of the Scratch website. We can now get coding. So we'll have a look at our Appy Chappy game and see if you can finish it off for us. Now this is basically a hide and seek game where we give Appy clues as to where the API keys are to get access to the server, which in our game is the castle that you can see in the background. What we need to do is to help Appy to move around and when we can set up the start and end of the game. So let's start by making Appy move. So click on Appy Chappy in the sprite area, so this is on the left of your screen, and just make sure that blue square is in the right place around your Appy Chappy sprite. And because we want to move Appy from the start of the game, then we start with a when green flag clicked block, and you'll find this in the brown events section. So now drag this when green flag block into the coding area on the right of your screen. Next, we need to go to the gold control section in the middle of your screen and select the forever loop. And we need to put this under the when green flag clicked block that is on the right of your screen. The forever loop means that any instructions you put inside will keep running until the end of the program or until you tell it to stop. So next we will use a statement to say that when the up arrow key is pressed, then API will simply move up. So in the goal control section, select the if/then block and drag this and put this inside the forever loop. And that's on the right of your screen again. Once you've done this, from the light blue sensing section, we need to drag the key space pressed block. And we need to put this in the blank space on the if statement. Now you can see when you do this, it's the same shape as the space you're putting it into. Once you've dragged that over to the right, using the drop-down menu, select up arrow from the list. Excellent. We now need to go to the blue motion section, and we know that Y reaches for the sky and controls up and down. So we drag in the change Y by block into the if statement. And we need to set the number to 5. So simply delete the number you can see in the block and enter the number 5. Okay, so now if you click your green flag and press the up arrow on your keyboard, Appy Chappy should now move up within your game. Next, to save you having to redo the same thing again, you can right click on the word if within the coding section on the right and select from the drop down duplicate, and then put the new blocks into the forever loop. Once we've done this, we now need to change the drop down to say down arrow from the list. And also the change Y by block, we need to change the number to -5. Again, just delete the number you can see and enter -5. Now if you click your green flag again and press the down arrow on your keyboard, Appy should now move down within your game. Next, we need to duplicate these blocks again by right-clicking on the if statement block within your coding section on the right. And we need to change the drop-down from the list to right arrow. Then remove the change Y by block by clicking the block and moving it back to the block area on the left. And because X is a cross, we need to replace it with change X by block from the blue motion section. And we need to make sure the number is changed to 5. Excellent. So now if you click your green flag again and press the right arrow on your keyboard, API should now move right within your game. So hopefully that's all worked for you. Let's just now do one more. So if you duplicate these blocks again within your coding section on the right, so right click, and we need to change the drop down to left arrow on the list. And in the change X by block, we need to change the number to -5. So now when you click the green flag and use any of your arrow keys on your keyboard, API will be able to move up, down, right and left. So just try that within your game that you've coded so far. Now if that all works for you, give yourselves a big pat on the back because you've now completed the first part of the coding to make your game work. So moving on to the next bit of the code, now that we can move Appy Chappy around the screen, we can have a look at the start and end of the game. The way that this works is that we set up the timer and score for the start of the game and then set up the counter. Now this part of the game is controlled by the stage, so you need to click on the stage in the sprite area, which is on the far left of your screen. And just check again that the blue square is around your stage icon. Because this is the start of the game, the coding will start when the green flag is clicked from the brown event section. So that's the first block that we need to use. So from the brown event section in the middle of your screen, drag this block into the coding area on the right. Next, we need to go to the orange data section and you will see that we have already created 2 variables, one the score and number 2 the time. Now drag in the set time to block and put that underneath the when green flagged clicked block. And use the drop down option to change it to score. Once you've done this, you will now then need another set time to block. So drag and put this underneath the set score to block. And what we need to do is change the number to 30. Again, delete the number you can see in the block and enter the number 30. So now we have the right score and the time for the start of the game. To make our timer work, we need to tell the game to count down from 30 to 0. Now to do this, we take a forever loop from the gold control section in the middle of your screen. Now as you know, any code we put inside the forever loop will keep running until the end of the game or when we tell it to stop. Now inside the forever loop, we'll put the wait 1 second block. Excellent. So from the orange data section, we take the change time by block. And we need to put that under the wait 1 second block. But importantly, still within the forever loop. and then change the number to -1. Delete the number you can see and enter -1. This code tells the computer that for every second, we take 1 second off the variable time, and this is how our countdown works. Next, to set up the end of the game, you'll be using an if statement from the gold control section in the middle of your screen. For this, we'll be telling the game that if the time runs out, please stop the game. So drag the if statements under the change time by block within your coding section on the right, but again still within the forever loop. Now we need to check the value of the time variable. If you go to the green operators section, we need to select the =2 block. And this is to go into the blank space on the if statement. Again, you'll see this is the same shape as the space that you're dropping it into. In the first space of the =2 block in your coding section, you will need to add the variable time from the orange data section. And in the second space, type the number 0. So next we will play a sound to tell the player that the game has ended. So go to the pink sound section and you need to select the play sound until done block. And now drag that into the coding section of your game. Once you drag and drop the block, make sure the drop down says duck. And then to finish the game, in the goal control section, at the bottom of the list is a stop all block. Drag this and drop this in under the play sound block, but again, still in the if statement. The last thing you need to do is to join up the final bit of code on the Appy Chappy sprite. You will see there is a green flag block above the blue go to block. So make sure you've clicked on the Appy Chappy sprite on the left of your screen. Drag the green flag block to the top of that script. And connect that to your coding you can see, and then you're ready to play. So all you need to do now is on the left of your screen at the top, click the green flag, and you can start playing your game. So challenge your friend next to you to see what score they can get, see how many keys you can find in the 30 seconds that you have. I have Stephen with me, and I'm sure you'll get a better score than him. Now remember to click the green flag to start each time, as this will reset the game back to the beginning. Now congratulations to all of you, you've now successfully coded your game. If you do have a Scratch account, you can save your game to play with friends later, or to remix into your own project. So this is just the start of our mission to help you to learn how to code. Based on today's session, we'd love to hear all of your feedback about what you thought of the session or any comments you have. So if you go to social media, if you go to Twitter, you can find us at Digital Eagles. Please feel free to leave your comments and thoughts. But you can also find us on LinkedIn. Simply search on LinkedIn for Barclays Digital Eagles. And why not use the hashtags, hashtag Code Playground and hashtag National Coding Week when you do post your message. Any teachers watching, please speak to your local Digital Eagle to book in a follow-up session. We'd love to see you. And all it leaves us to say is thanks so much for joining our live session today. We hope you found it fun. Happy coding, and remember, coding gives you superpowers. Thanks everyone for joining.